and without a throne.
Ingersoll's fame grew. He became Attorney General of Illinois. When the GOP was the party of Lincoln, Ingersoll gave a passionate speech urging the 1876 Republican Convention to nominate James G. Blaine for president. The convention chose Rutherford B. Hayes instead, but Ingersoll's speech for Blaine won national acclaim. Blaine would be known ever after as the Plumed Knight, the title Ingersoll gave him in 1876. In the golden age of American oratory, Ingersoll was the nation's best recognized and most fearless public speaker.
No necessity of bread, or roof, or raiment shall ever put a padlock on my lips.
Ingersoll spoke all over America to more than 1,000 audiences and to audiences of thousands. Reading his speeches today is a pale shadow of what it must have been to hear Ingersoll deliver them, an experience after which Mark Twain declared,
"Lord, what an organ is human speech when it is employed by a master."
Still, to read Ingersoll is to be astonished at how far and on how many issues he stood decades ahead of his time.
Science, the only possible savior of mankind, must put it in the power of woman to decide for herself whether she will or will not become a mother.
Yet Ingersoll was always in demand as a GOP campaign speechmaker. From Grant to McKinley, no Republican for whom Ingersoll did not campaign attained the White House. Yet none of the presidents he helped to elect rewarded him with a political appointment. Why?
Happiness is the only good, reason the only torch, justice the only worship, humanity the only religion, and love the only priest.
Ingersoll rejected Orthodox Christianity and its dogma of eternal punishment. He was called the Great Agnostic.
I am not trying to destroy another world. I'm trying to prevent the theologians from destroying this one.
Ingersoll debated believers on the platform and in print. His opponents included English Prime Minister William Gladstone and New Mexico Governor Lew Wallace, who answered Ingersoll's agnosticism by writing the epic religious novel Ben-Hur. 22 miles south of Dresden, at an 1878 Freethought Conference in Watkins Glen, New York, atheist publisher D.M. Bennett was arrested for selling forbidden literature by agents of moral crusader Anthony Comstock. This triggered events that ended in Bennett's imprisonment. Ingersoll vigorously lobbied then-President Hayes to pardon Bennett, though without success. But Robert Greene Ingersoll always succeeded in attracting the public. Over some 30 years of public life, he made numerous national tours, delivering more than 1,200 lectures on free thought, reform, politics, and the arts. A single appearance in Chicago drew 50,000 people. Ingersoll was seen and heard by more Americans than any human being prior to the advent of motion pictures and radio.
In nature, there are neither rewards nor punishments. There are consequences.
And he brought to popular religious dissent America's free thought movement the greatest popularity it ever knew. Freethinkers honored their hero with books and collectibles. Admirers put his name to a chain of islands in the Yukon, a hot springs at Yellowstone, an entire Texas town. Dowagiac, Michigan freethinkers built a lavish theater decorated with the quarter-ton Ingersoll bust now displayed in our museum. Through it all, Ingersoll enjoyed a stellar legal career and a tender family life whose warmth and propriety frustrated his critics. Among his admirers were abolitionist and orator Frederick Douglass, pioneer feminists Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Matilda Jocelyn Gage, Cornell University co-founder Andrew Dixon White, and inventor Thomas Edison, who recorded Ingersoll's voice on an early phonograph. Robert Ingersoll returned once again to the region of his birth in October 1889, visiting Penn Yan, 6 miles west of Dresden, and lecturing to 8,000 people.
Ignorance worships mystery. Science explains it. One grovels, the other soars.
Robert Greene Ingersoll died on July 21st, 1899 in Dobbs Ferry, New York. He was mourned by thousands, including personal friends ranging from industrialist Andrew Carnegie to socialist and labor activist Eugene Debs. Peoria raised a statue to him. In 1921, a committee led by Luther Burbank, Thomas Edison, and Edgar Lee Masters converted Ingersoll's birthplace into a community center. 5,000 thronged Dresden for its opening. With the Great Depression, the house fell into disrepair. Religious hostility, too, took its toll. One of the best-known Americans of the Gilded Age was vanishing from history. When 2 Rochester freethinkers restored the birthplace again, on behalf of atheist activist Joseph Lewis, only a handful attended its reopening in 1954. By 1986, the birthplace lay near ruin again.
The $7,000 special.
It was acquired and restored by the Council for Secular Humanism, America's foremost organization for the non-religious. The birthplace has been open to the public each summer and fall since 1993. Though Ingersoll lived here just 4 months, the birthplace is the only of his many residences still standing and open to the public. Enjoy your visit to the Robert Greene Ingersoll Birthplace Museum, your window on the life and times of an extraordinary human being who made his mark on 3 decades of American life and is unfairly forgotten today. Robert Greene Ingersoll, the most remarkable American most people never heard of.
Tom,
Yes.
I believe Robert Greene Ingersoll actually visited Toronto one time.
Oh, actually, he came to Toronto more than once, but I don't want to anticipate too much of a later presentation. So, we're back here, and there we are. Well, if you came to visit the museum in Dresden, and we hope that many of you will this summer, you'd see something not unlike this. But first, let me tell you a little something about the house itself. It was built in 1800. It was built as the residence for Dresden's congregational minister. Ingersoll's father held that post in Dresden, and so the family was occupying the house in 1833 when Ingersoll was born. The house is composed of 3 sections.